Hello and welcome to an Eyewitness News special. My name is Tshidi Madia, Associate Editor for Politics. We are still at Nasrec, where the ANC is holding its 55th National Conference. It's day 3. We've had nominations. We left here at about 4 a.m. This morning, I suppose, and we're back. And as I understand it, delegates are now voting. You see a lot of movement in the background as they go up and down. They'll be doing it province by province. But we're also trying to speak to political leaders and those who were nominated from the floor last night. It was a little bit exciting. So we're going to speak to one of them now. Maropene Ramokgopa is nominated as the second Deputy Secretary General of the ANC. Remember, I said that they looked at the Constitution. They increased the number of officials from 6 to 7. So we speak to her now. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Maropene, I don't think it came as a surprise to you. It might have been a surprise to us as outsiders, having your name raised as the second Deputy President. They put you up there, Deputy President, putting your name there as the next DSG, the second DSG. It wasn't necessarily a surprise. I imagine conversations about the possibility when the increase of the officials was on the table did come to you in some way or shape or form.
No, it was definitely not a surprise, precisely because as the ANC Women's League, we are one of the people that were proponent of this particular position to be added in the Constitution, so that we can be able to see the organization change into something else that would be able to be meaningful in whatever it is that the ANC needs to do on the ground. So, of course, having lobbied for this position to actually be included in the officials of the ANC, we also had to sit down to say, but who are we going to lobby for? And different people came together, women came together and started lobbying with different provinces and different branches to say that when a constitutional amendment is actually done, these are the names that we would actually like to see featuring in the ballot. And if everything goes well, which I believe it will go well, we would then now have that particular person at least running with a mandate of the people that actually sat down to think about this particular position.
What does it mean for you as an individual, as Maropene? I know people have gone back and forth about your role when you're appointed coordinator of the ANC Women's League task team, but I think those people have realized that you're not just linked to an advisory role to the president, but you also have a long history within the organization. What does it mean for you? And I think age is on your side. That's part of the conversation around this conference, is not enough relatively young people are being considered for leadership.
Yes, I'm not very young, but I'm not also very old. So I'm in the middle, so that assists a lot, relatively. So that assists a lot because we are able to think differently, not conservatively like the other generation that is older than ours, but also able to be a bridge between the old and the real young people. So that actually assists the ANC to be able to be appealing to young people, but at the same time give confidence to the older generation that would still be able to bring respect in the organization, but play a meaningful role that would be able to deal with issues that are important to them. So me as an individual, I'm actually very excited because once again, the ANC as an organization is showing that the investment that they've made in me from when I was still very young is actually starting to yield fruits. So I'll be able to implement whatever it is that I've learned as I grew up in this, because that's the only thing that I know, the organization itself. They've sent me out to go and learn many things. They've given me responsibilities in different structures of the ANC, and I do believe that now is the time for me to be able to implement that I've gained and been told that we've got confidence in you, go grow, and then so that you can be able to assist the ANC to do what it's supposed to do.
I want to raise a bugbear. I sat in the plenary watching nominations unfold, and as the issue of finding somebody, because Phoebe Potgieter withdrew from her candidature as the first deputy president, and it led to multiple names being mentioned. And honestly, ANC women, the only women's names were being mentioned for a deputy position. The understanding and the criticism has always been, why must this position be what's suitable for a woman? Why is it that a woman is the name that will come out for a deputy position, which is often seen slightly inferior to the person who will occupy the secretariat as the Secretary General? And I couldn't understand why the party doesn't seem to understand that. Why were there no male names that came up from the floor? I mean, just a sense of that, where it's deputy posts and only women are being spoken of.
It wasn't that men were not raised. They just did not gain traction. Their names did not gain traction. there were people who were suggesting different names of men, but when they do
I wasn't
lobby,
there was no such.
No, but this is, remember, this is a process. We don't just go and nominate a name in plenary. We first start and discuss the issue as different caucuses
Outside, sure.
and lobby groups. So in those caucuses, male comrades that were suggested or recommended for those positions did not really gain momentum. It is for this reason that women that who gained momentum because of their credentials were raised. But I would like to differ with you. Maybe if you would allow me to say this. The ANC Women's League, for example, and a lot of other women that sitting in a lobby group for this particular conference, have actually said what becomes important. Is it occupying a specific position, or it's making sure that women as a whole are able to play a meaningful role to push the ANC to a specific side so that they can be able to see difference on the ground? We have also nominated Comrade Maropene Ramokgopa as for Treasurer, which is an office that is very important. Why is it important? Because when you speak about programs that need to be implemented for women, not specific positions, but women on the ground, you need resources. It is for this reason that we chose that particular office, because it won't help to just sit and say, we've got someone in presidency, we've got someone in secretary general, but we should be able to see programs on the ground that are highly funded or funded enough so that they can be able to make a difference. Because at the end of the day, even if we get any positions, it is programs on the ground that has to change lives of the masses of our people, in particular women. Those are the programs that we need to concentrate on.
I don't think anyone differs with that. But I'd also make an argument that if a man was proposed for that position, they'd actually see it as inferior, as a demotion of sorts. That's where my issue lies with the DSG office. You're not answering my question about how women have seemingly accepted that actually here's our playing ground, our playing field. Even if men were raised and you say they failed to gain traction, I follow the ANC closely. I know what the men also think of that position. And I worry about how the women have allowed that to be the narrative. They too haven't done much over the years to navigate that.
If you look at, maybe, as you say, you are following the ANC very closely, you would have seen some posters that have been going around that had men for second Deputy Secretary General, and others for DSG, the first DSG as well. Men that led in provinces. I don't want to talk about their names, but if you do your homework correctly, you will see that in different social media platforms, there have been posters that were made for male comrades who actually held senior positions in provinces of the ANC that actually were vying for these particular positions. So in my view, we look at, maybe we need to say, what is it that a Deputy Secretary General do? What role do they play? So that we can then now be able to judge if we can say it's an inferior role in any way. Yes, of course, women also have to be available, to avail themselves for bigger positions such as Secretary General, such as President, that we all agree. And there are women, of course, that tried to stand, for example, in Deputy President positions. And there are women who tried to avail themselves, of course, for presidency as well. However, maybe what we were fighting for as this particular group of women that believe that we have to change the ANC, we were not looking at positions, but we were looking at changing the officials of the ANC to be able to have gender parity. But we were also being concentrating on what is it that have made us to fail in the past. It's because we were not well resourced. Hence, we said that we will vie for Treasurer General. It might not be something that excites people, but we know what we are doing. We know that it's going to be a process, but this is the method that we have chosen to be able to fight patriarchy in society, in the ANC, but most of all, be able to play a meaningful role in this gender struggle that we are fighting for. Because it's not only about positions. As I said, programs are very important to change the lives of people in their majority.
Keeping with that theme of important programs, then why abandoned the campaign to occupy the entire secretariat? At some point, the women wanted to have all positions, be it 3 secretariat positions or just the 2 as it was traditionally, all being led by women. Why abandon that if programs are so important, being on the ground is so important? The secretariat's role is the day-to-day life of the ANC. That's the engine. Why not occupy? Why abandon that then for a different view?
We did not abandon the program. Remember that as you sit down to start and conceptualize what you want to do, you come with different scenarios and you end up saying, but what is going to work now? This is for these reasons that we said that Secretariat, we will still be there. And we want to make sure that we dominate Secretariat. But because of the issue of resources that I've just mentioned, we thought that maybe we need to also look at sending someone a TG position so that we can be able to resource these programs that we are talking about.
Voting has commenced, as I said earlier. How are you feeling in terms of your chances? As you said, work it gets done behind the scenes in the lead up to this. How are you feeling about your chances? You are supposedly going to line up. We're all getting posters left, right, and center on a lineup that was actually formulated quite late, because I think it's a lineup that shot itself in the foot and how it managed itself with some of its leaders and the lineup that it had initially. Are you not worried that it's too fractured, it's too late to come together now in order to benefit you? It might be to your detriment.
You know, in fact, I think this is actually what should happen in the ANC, to do away with issues of slates. A lobby group needs to be able to look at what it needs to be able to contribute to the ANC. We must not just put you on a list because you are singing better, but we should be able to check if you would be able to speak to the issues that we want to do. And I do believe that the process that has unfolded in all lineups that I've seen, we never had one lineup that was consistent. Most of them have been changing from this.
A lot of chop and changing.
It then now tells you that we are dealing away with late politics, which is what has actually killed the ANC to be where it is today. It's not dead, it is still there, but it has deteriorated because of lineups. So we are trying to deal away with the lineups so that when we come with as a lobby list or a lobby team, we should then now be able to say we are coming up with that because this person can be able to bring this, and in this particular constituency, having gone through a particular process, this person has been chosen by them, not only because we like them, but because there are people on the ground that have said, we believe this person can represent us better. So that is actually what has happened. So coming to your question, I do believe this is the correct thing. We are dealing away with late politics, and I still believe that looking at what happened yesterday, numbers don't lie. Number crunching doesn't lie. You could have maybe looked at how the nomination actually took place. We do stand a better chance, and I do believe that we are going to be announced on Tuesday as the second Deputy Secretary General of the ANC.
I am winding down. I just got two more questions. I'm going to wrap up. One of the policy proposals that came from the policy conference in July is an issue of castration, dealing with gender-based violence. South Africa is in the throes really of a war when it comes to the bodies of women and children. I looked at it and was like, but the Constitution doesn't even allow. What does that then say about the imagination of the organization, men and women combined, on issues that are facing women and children mostly in the country?
Look, policy positions that are suggested, of course, come from the mood. And this then now tells you that ANC members are actually tired of what is happening, and they are looking at the issue of gender-based violence as a pandemic, as the president has said before, of course. And they believe that we need to take drastic measures. Of course, you cannot say that it is not possible. You'd say that, how is it going to happen? That's what we need to talk about. But we have then now since then been able to go through a summit that speaks to issues of gender-based violence and femicide, and different proposals came together again, and many people were actually represented there, including the ANC Women's League. But we pushed to make sure as the ANC that we convene that particular summit precisely because of what was raised in the National Policy Conference. So yes, we might have maybe been extreme. It's not about imagination, but it is about what we represent, because we are still members of society and what we are facing on the ground. And we will always come up with a concept that should be able to speak to what we are facing, even if they may not look like they are possible.
My parting shot to you. We're on day 3. We're not far from the end, even though it feels like it because of the hours of waiting. What happens to people like you? What happens to the organization should it close with the Zweli Mkhize presidency going forward? What happens to the ANC standing in society? Are you concerned at all?
I'm not necessarily concerned. I do believe that the delegates of this conference will make a choice that would be able to represent what the ANC stands for. Even if someone else wins, I do believe that the ANC will have to find a way of ensuring that the ANC still hold the position that it has always held in society if it shouldn't improve. So what happens to me, I'll still be a member of this organization, and I am available to, of course, serve the presidency or the leadership of the ANC, irrespective of whoever comes in, because lobby groups does happen because of what I believe in. And at this current moment, I believe in the things that Comrade President Ramaphosa believes in. However, if someone else is elected, I have to, as a discipline member, be able to accept that particular leadership and be able to serve them at whatever position that I'll be in, even if I'm just a branch member. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
All right, thank you so much. I didn't ask about President Ramaphosa.
I was just giving an example.
No, I'm well aware. I'm about to explain what I understood, because I understand exactly where she stands on that particular matter. That's why I left it out. That's Maropene Ramokgopa, who's joining us here at Nasrec, where the ANC is holding its 55th conference. She is nominated for second Deputy Secretary General. Voting is underway. She'll find out if she's successful much later in the day. For Eyewitness News, my name is Tshidi Madia. Follow us for more videos on TikTok, Eyewitness News SA.